Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to dive deeper into the initial look at WordPress. We've already talked about the overview and the dashboard in a previous video. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look deeper into the posts and the pages. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on posts, and this is the initial screen that you will see. It is the overview screen, and you'll see a few things here. The first is it lets you know where you are. We are currently in posts, and we have the ability to add new. This is the same regardless of whether we're in posts or if we're in pages. The only difference is this has now changed, but we can add a new page. It says there are none found. We can add a new post, but it says there are no found. So very similar in terms of the look and the feel. And you'll notice this as we go deeper into things. Even if I click on the comments, you'll notice that the layout it's similar, although you can't add new comments here. But if I go back to posts, add new, we've got a filter, everything there. Also you'll see screen options. We can open up the screen options. There are different things here that are available, how many we want to view on a page, the look, the feel, and we can edit and turn on or off these columns that are available as well. So once we're happy, we can click apply. We can do exactly the same thing for pages. Different screen options, but we can do the same thing here. So starting off on posts, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a new post. Now don't worry about categories and tags, I will talk about those in a moment, but you will see that if I hover or if I click on posts, we have the all posts, the add new, categories and tags. And if I do pages, we just have all pages and add new. So one of the things that I want to explain to you, and hopefully I can do this in a way that makes sense, and I'm going to try and simplify this as much as possible, is that WordPress has some terminology, and that terminology is important to understand. The first of that is that the overview of a post type, so this is a post type called posts, and this is the post type overview, and the overview is known as the archive of all of the posts. Now, within the post type, this is post type posts, this is post type pages, this is post type comments. So to understand this allows you to understand that there is something in WordPress called post types, and you can create custom post types, and we're going to talk about that a lot more later. It's very important when you start to build your website how you want it to be for yourself. So we have to remember custom post types. Now, within the post types, there's something called taxonomies. Now, I know this is a strange word. Taxonomies is what WordPress uses to identify things like categories or tags, or we can create our own things. And the best way for me to explain this in its most simplistic term is that a taxonomy is like a filter. And so you may want to filter your posts by different categories, or you may want to filter your posts by different tags, and you can create your own custom taxonomies as well as your own custom post types, and we're going to go through that in more detail later. But for now, to just keep this as simple as possible, I'm going to click on add new on the post type. Now what this is going to do is it's going to give an introduction. I'm just going to close that down. And what we're looking at here is, as of WordPress 5.2, which uses Gutenberg, is we are using the full screen as a preview area at the moment. And there's certain things we can do. We can add a block, we can undo, we can redo, we can get some content structure, or we can have a look at our navigation. So this is all of that information. Let me just close this sidebar down. This is everything you need to know here. So this could be, let's just say new post. This is the content of our first post. And I can go ahead now and I can either save this as a draft, or I can click on the preview button and I can see exactly what it looks like, or I can publish. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click publish. And now this is going to say, are you ready to publish? Double check, are you happy with the visibility? Are you sure you want to publish it immediately? Do you want to add some tags? So these are like pre-published checks, and we can turn this off so it doesn't happen again just by unticking this box. and go ahead now and click publish. Now what it's done is it said that our new post is live. This is the URL of our new post, and you can see it's our website, which is framework/new-post. Remember in the last video we changed the permalinks to be the post title, and so that's what it is. We cannot have spaces, and so every new title will have a dash. And we can either copy the link or we can go ahead and we can view the post. So let's just view that post, and here it is. So we have the title and the subtitle of our website. We have the title of our post. This is known as the metadata. This is the author, when it was published, and we can edit because we're logged in. This is the content itself. We've then got the metadata again, a search bar. It's pretty basic. There's not really a lot of information here. It doesn't look that good at the moment. But this just shows you what it looks like on the front end. I can also come back to the main website itself, which is here, and this shows us our post. So from there, what I can now do is I can close these down on the front end and come back to the back end, and I can maybe do some different things. So maybe I want to add something new underneath the post. I can do that by just clicking on the little plus. I can choose paragraph, image, headline, gallery, list. There's some things that are standard that I can add here. Lots of different things to play with. So I'm not going to do that right now. I might just want to do a heading, for example. So this is a test. And then I might want to just move this up, or I can move it down. So there you get the idea. And this is how it works. Very, very basic level. Very basic level. So this is some content. This is some headline. I can edit this. I can do different things to it. I can click on this. There's different things I can play with. Lots of different things to do here. I can also open up this cog here, the settings cog. And this again is going to let me do some different things. And for depending on which block that I have clicked on, so the heading block has heading things. So I can change the heading, change the alignment, some advanced things there, things to play with. If I click on a content area, different options, different color settings, different things that I can do, different things to play with. And so it's good to understand and good to see this. Different things there. So that's how this is now going to look. I can update this page. I can then go ahead and I can view this page, and now you'll see it looks different. So as a very basic level, this is how you can go ahead and you can create posts. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to focus on this too much. On the left hand side is where you would add all of your content, and on the right hand side we can look at the blocks, and when we select a block we can see the settings for the block, but we can also look at the settings for the document. We can turn the settings on or off using this cog. And if we have the settings on and we look at the document, this first of all shows us the status and the visibility. So the visibility is either public, private, which means only site admins and editors, or password protected. 3 different options there. When is it published? Now or in the future? We can choose that. Do we want to stick it to the top of the blog? Do we want to stick it in the bin? They're the first things. The permalink is what is the slug. We can change this, so I might just want it to be new. If I update this and change it to new, then if I now visit new post, it won't work. It will say it cannot find it. It's actually renamed it, and you can see it's actually gone now to new. So if you want to change what is called the permalink or the URL slug, or the URL, whatever you want to call it, that is where you would do it. So we're going to close that. Categories we briefly talked about, and the first one was uncategorized. I might add a new category, so I might call this Cat A. Okay, and I can add this as a new category. I might also do Cat B, and I can add this as a new category. So now we can untick uncategorized, and we can untick Cat B, and this is a post just for category A. I can go ahead and update that. Come across to the front end of the website and refresh, and we can now see that this is within Cat A. If I click on this, it's going to show us all of the posts that are relevant to Cat A. Now at the moment there is only one. And this doesn't look very good at the moment, but we'll deal with that when we add our theme. I'm just showing you at the moment how to add the data and the content, because for you to understand this before we get distracted with all of the bells and whistles, it's really important that you understand how this works. So we can add multiple categories, we can update that, we can go back, we can view again, and we can now see that we've got category A and category B. So a good idea there to be able to filter the different categories. Exactly the same with tags. So we can call this tag A, and we can call this tag B. They're slightly different, and the main difference between the two is that with these categories, I can call this category A.1, for example, and I can have a parent category which is category A. So what this may be, if I add this, is now we've got category A, but we've also got category A.1, and it's nested within the main category. This is known as a parent, and this is known as a child. The relationship is this is a child of the parent, and that is something that we will understand a lot more as we dive deeper into WordPress. So to have this hierarchy of parent-child, and to have the ability to nest things within other things, folders within folders, if you like, is something that categories has the ability to do, but tags do not. Tags are just added in a linear format. So I can go ahead and I can update this, view it again, and you're going to see now that we have our categories, we have our tags, and everything here is shown. So now let's come back here one more time, just close those down and look at the last few things. Featured image. Now the featured image is the image that is set, and let's just do this now. We're going to use just a standard image that we have here. This is our featured image, and whenever we share this on social media, anywhere we will share this, if there is the ability for an image, it will pick up the featured image. If there is no featured image, WordPress will automatically look through the content on the page and pick the first available image it finds, and it will use that as the featured image. So it's always a good idea to set yourself a featured image. Then when we come back and we refresh, we now see that here our featured image has been used in the background. So now not only have we got our featured image, we've also got our title of our site. It's starting to look a little bit better now. New post, information, there's the content. So straight away, even just by adding a featured image on this theme, it makes things look a lot better. And so I want you to understand, when you start to add things like featured images, it starts to change the look and the feel of the site. The excerpt is, this is an intro into this post. So we can have an excerpt and we can update that, and then if the theme would allow, it would then show. This is not something that would show here, but if we did, if I actually go back to the overview and have a look, and again if it was here, then this is just showing you again image, the content within. So you can set different things up here that can be used, and there's discussion as well. So if we're looking at discussion is, do we want to allow comments, yes or no? And we'll talk about pingbacks and trackbacks later. So now I can come into this post and I can scroll down, and now there is the ability to leave a comment. So this is a comment. We can post our comment, and now our comment is live. We have one comment, it's live. So now we have our post, featured image, our metadata, which is author, date, categories and things like that. We have a comment, and that is all there. And that is everything that you need to know to get started with posts. That is it. That's everything that you need to know. So you can create different posts, and if we go back and let's just create one more new, so I click add new, and let's call this new post 2. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead, we're just going to publish this, leave it as it is, and if I go back to all posts, now you can see we have new post and new post 2. We can see the information now, who is the author, the categories, the tags, how many comments there are, when it was published. So you can start to see, and if I go again, post new, so this will be new post 3, and let's give this one a category of B, publish. We come back to our overview, and now we can see we can either edit by clicking on this, we can throw it in a bin and trash it, or we can view it. A quick edit allows us to go in and just change a few things quickly. I might want to go and change this to new post 1 so it matches up with the rest. And if I do a quick edit, I can change categories, tags, allow comments. It's just a way to quickly go in and change some of the features without having to click through to the page itself. So there we go. So now if I come back to the site itself and we look at the overview, now what you're seeing is the archive. Remember I said this is the archive of all of the posts. So what we're now seeing is this is post 1, post 2 and post 3. And if I click through on any of these posts, it will load that particular post. Now, again, I'm not showing you too much at the moment in terms of the theme because I just want you to get the idea of the content and how the content works. The theme, the look and the feel doesn't matter. We can do that completely separate. The first thing we need to understand is what data and what content do we need to store, and how are we going to store it, so that we understand how are we going to retrieve it, and then we can choose how things look and feel. This is going through a process to understand the correct way to build a website. So that is everything that you need to know about posts. The thing I'm going to cover now very quickly is pages, and the reason I'm going to do this is because pages is very, very similar. We click add new, and we can have new page 1. This is a new page, and then what we can do from here is, again, we can edit the blocks exactly the same way as before, or we can edit the document. Now the document is slightly different this time. The visibility is the same, whether it's published, the visibility, and if it's pending a review. The featured image is exactly the same, so we can go ahead and add a featured image. But now we do not have categories and we do not have tags. We do have discussions, but what we have that is different here now is something called page attributes. And these are different things. This is the order of the pages. So we're going to go ahead and click publish. This is now live, and we can go ahead and we can view this page. So this is the page. Looks a little bit similar to the posts, but it is actually a page. It's very different. And this is called new page 1. So now we have our pages and our posts. If I go back to our overview that we were looking at, you won't see any pages on here because this is only showing us the latest posts. So what I might want to do now is come back to my dashboard, come back to settings, and I might want to have a look at the reading section, and you can see now that it's slightly changed. Because we've added a page, it's asking us, do we want our home page to be the latest posts, or do we want it to be a static page? And if we choose a static page, what do we want it to be? So we're going to go ahead for the home page and choose new page 1. We're going to go ahead and save that. Now if we just close all of these other pages, now if we visit our website, we're not going to get that overview of post 1, 2 and 3 that we saw. It's going to take us directly to this page. Now let's just quickly edit this page, and let's actually go ahead and call this the home page. This is the home page of our new website. And let's go ahead and save that. Now we go ahead and view this, and here we go. We're now on our home page. So this is the homepage of our new website. Now, I agree, it doesn't look that good at the moment, and we're going to change that. But for now, it's good for you to understand how this works. So we go back into pages, you can see we have our home page. We can create different pages. So we can go contact us, and we can publish this page. Or we can create another new page, and we might want to call this about. Okay. Now what we want to do, because what we don't have anymore is we don't have a blog. We don't have an archive for a blog. So what we need to do is actually create a new page. We're going to add a new page. And we're going to call this blog. Or you might want to call it something different. I call it advice center. You might want to call it news. You can call it whatever you want. But now we have our blog page. Now we don't do anything with this except for going back to settings, back to reading, and where it allowed us earlier to select our home page, we're now going to select our post page, and we're going to choose the blog as our post page. And because it is /blog, if I go to pages and if I go to blog, you look at the permalink. If I click on that permalink, this is our website /blog, and now we can see we have our title and we have our archive pages that we had before, exactly as they were. This is post 1, post 2, post 3. Now, there's some other things to consider, but for the purpose of this video, I think it was really important for you to understand the posts and the pages. Now, one thing that you noticed that we did in the post is we added a comment. If I click on comments, you'll see here, this is a comment that was added, and I can unapprove, I can reply, I can edit. There's a lot of things that I can do here with this comment. So if I wanted to, I can go in and view these comments. I can deal with them if I need to. It might be you get a bit of spam now and again. You might want to deal with those. But that just shows you And normally all of these wouldn't be here, by the way. This was just some stuff that I was doing. So if I want to just move all of these to the trash, I can just click here. One of the things I can do, because you can see there's 276 of these comments that are here. I might just want to go on to screen options, and I might want to change this to be 300 items per page. So the more that you have, the longer it may take to load, but this is all of these on one page now, and I can scroll down, scroll back up. I can click on the top here to bulk edit all of these in one go, click on the bulk actions, and I'm going to move them to the trash and delete them. Now you can see they're all in the trash. I can click on the trash, I can empty the trash, and it's just going to remove everything, all gone. So even when you delete something, and it's important to understand this, we'll do it on pages. In fact, we'll do it on posts. If I wanted to delete new post 3 and I moved it to the trash, I can undo it to bring it back again. But if I do, you'll notice it moves it to the trash. Okay, so even though it's in the trash, it's not deleted permanently until I click either empty trash or delete permanently. And at this time, I could even restore it and bring it back if I wanted to. So it's good to know that even if you do delete something, it doesn't actually mean it's deleted forever until you go and actually empty the trash. Now we go back to our website. We'll need to go to /blog. We can see there's only new post 1 and new post 2. They're the only things that are available now. So that's everything that you really need to know about the starting point of this. We've covered posts, we've covered pages, we've covered comments. What I'm going to do very, very quickly is I'm just going to cover the media, because it's very, very simple. If I click on media, here are some images that I've uploaded. And you can see here all of the media items, and we can search from images, audio. There is no audio, so it will say none are found. I can view them in a grid or in a list if I prefer. I can choose dates. I can search for things. I can bulk select things, or I can click on them. If I click on them, it will allow me to either edit them. I can add some information. This is going to be for SEO. Every image should have alternative text in case for any reason the image doesn't show up. It should have what's called alt text, and that should always be there. And this should explain what this is. So a picture of a mountain and stars, something like that. Now you can work on your SEO, and we can talk about that later. I'm not going to do it in the purpose of this video, but that shows you now that image, and you can scroll through all the different images, edit them, change them, do whatever you need to do. When you're finished, you can come out of this. So you can upload all of your media here. Now this will take storage on your server, so depending on what hosting plan you have for your website will depend how many images and what you can store, and also other files. It might be that instead of uploading things like videos, because they're quite heavy and quite large, you may want to put your videos on YouTube or Vimeo or another third-party service. You might want to put your audio on SoundCloud, things like that. You may not want to add everything into the media library. I recommend keeping the media library for PDFs and for images. It's better suited for those items. But that is the media library just very quickly covered, and that's pretty much everything that you need to know there. It might be that you want to add a plugin to give you some structure. WordPress doesn't have a folder structure for the media library, but you can add a plugin to give you additional functionality, and that plugin is called Filebird. If you download a plugin called Filebird, it will give you some structure that will allow you to have folders and to organize your media into different places to get a better grip of it. I do think it should be in core. Unfortunately, it is not. But that is one of the lacking things I find in the WordPress media library. That's it for this video. When you come back into the next video, we're going to just very, very quickly touch on users, and we're going to dive straight into setting up our theme.